Welcome back everybody to the SRM 3D Prints channel. My name is Tim. So today is a really big day. This is the final assembly of the Foundry Special. It's been many months in the making. I think I officially started this project late July. And it's been lots of twists and turns. I'm hoping that the next one will take significantly less time, even though I am making changes to it as I go. But that's just the nature of a prototype. Well, anyway, so today we're hooking up the last of the power supply connections. I split the load up on the power supply, so one power supply does a heated bed and the servos, and the other one does the extruder and the other heated bed. Just a single one of these power supplies would struggle to do the whole thing together. Up next we have the bed plate, which I'm just using the existing beds to describe a line around. And then what I'm going to do is cut this with the grinder first, a little bit oversized, and then switch over to my shear to make a nice clean finished edge. I very quickly realized I should have put this shear on the edge of the workbench, something I hadn't thought about at the time, because my vise sits on the edge of this workbench already, but it works out okay. And then after a little quick cleanup, we're going to lay this all out and mark all the holes, hole locations, so I can drill through. All these holes need to be countersunk so they'll receive the head of the screw. And what I should have done is set up an end stop on my milling drill, and then that way I could set them all to the same height. I was in a hurry, so I just kind of eyeballed it and then just erred on the side of a little bit light. As I say, I had to recheck 4 of the holes. Assembling this bed frame turned out to be a little more difficult than I anticipated. There was some slight misalignment issues with a couple of the holes, so I ended up oversizing the holes just a hair to accommodate it. And I believe the issue is actually the lower frame is inaccurate, so that's something that'll have to be addressed when I do the final versions of these, so I can get them very consistent. But anyway, I just basically got a set of springs in and then just worked my way around getting the springs and the screws all aligned. And then I put a little bit of tension on it using some squeeze clamps, so that way I could get the first couple nuts started, and that worked out pretty good. So I've moved the printer over closer to my desktop and my other workstation here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the same firmware that's on one of my little black printers, because I know that one works with the hardware, and then from there I'll go through and fine-tune everything that needs to be fine-tuned. I figured that was the best way to get this done in a timely manner. I still need to go through and clean up the firmware, because it's got a lot of extra stuff for different configurations that doesn't really need to be there. It just adds to more confusion if you want to make changes. Okay, so now we got our first sketch uploaded onto here. I'm going to power off the printer, hook up the display, and we're going to verify which directions everything moves. From there, I can go in and make the tweaks to it to make all the movements be correct. We have a display, so that's a good sign we're moving in the right direction. Whoa! So those values are not correct. So I got on the heated bed, it's giving me a value, or it's giving me probably the correct temperature for what it is in the room, but the extruder is way off. So let's see here. So it appears the X is good. So Y is reversed. Still. Okay. And let's see, let's try move Z. So Z is also still reversed. Alright, so I need to figure out what this thermistor is for the Z-axis, or for the extruder, because that is just way off. But I'm going to try something real quick, because there was something that was not working before. Temperature. Oh, and it appears the bed is now working. I got good signal coming in, so it's a firmware issue is why the beds weren't working prior. And it's registering temperature change. So I will definitely have to figure out what that is supposed to be for the nozzle, because apparently we got the wrong thermistor in on the nozzle. So I'm going to have to slow down the PID settings for the heated bed, because they're cycling way too fast. Especially with the large thermal mass that this bed has. So, but it appears to be evening out temperature-wise. That was actually not too bad. All right. So the next thing we got to do, we got to go to configuration.h, and we're going to scroll down and find the motion. Let's see. It's pretty far down on this. I'm going to have to figure out this whole code, see where I can trim it. So all of those should be fine. Okay, so steps per unit
Now this should be, so the little black printers I have here are 100, 100, and 400 with 95. So this should actually be 80 and 80. That should be correct for that. Feed rate, don't care about that. That's all fine. The V-jerk is good. Okay, now somewhere down a little further should be, aha, so X is good, so Y needs to be the opposite, and then Z needs to be the opposite. Okay. So that should fix our movement issue, and I should be able to home. I do need to find the bed size because I got a whole bunch of excess stuff in here. So we're gonna send this one and see if we get our movement fixed. There, we're gonna try this again. Motion. Move axis. Move X. X is fine. Move Y. Okay. Sweet. It's almost perfect. Alright, so now I gotta figure out whether I got a bad thermistor that's causing my temperature overrun or if I have some other issue. But I also gotta change the offsets for this this bed because this is way off. So we'll cross that bridge one at a time here. And with that, this printer is basically ready to go. I have some flatness issues with the bed that I added on here. So I'm going to take this, I think I'm just going to take this piece of aluminum off and run with just the stock beds. Yeah, it'll have a little seam down the middle, but you know, for the sake of just getting this thing up and running, That's, I think, the quickest way to make that happen. But in the end, I think this is going to work just fine. And once, like I said, once I get the bed all trammed in, it seems to be picking up temp just fine. The hot end's picking up just fine. I still need to make a part cooling fan for this thing, but other than that, we're well on our way. So I guess till next time, when you get to see this thing, do some testing.